You didn't wake up one day and become a different person. It didn't happen like that. There was no moment where everything suddenly changed, no clear turning point, no decision, no line you crossed, no version of you that said, "This is who I am now." It was quieter, slower, almost invisible, the kind of change you don't notice while it's happening, only later, much later. Because if someone asked you right now, "How did you become this version of yourself?" you probably wouldn't know what to say. There's no single memory, no exact moment, no story you can point to. Just a feeling, a subtle awareness that something doesn't match, that something is off, like you're slightly out of sync with your own life. You still recognize yourself, but not completely, not fully. There's a distance, small but real, and you can feel it in the quiet moments, when nothing is distracting you. When there's no noise, no scrolling, no background sound, just you and your thoughts. That's when it shows up. That feeling you can't quite explain. Not strong enough to panic, but not weak enough to ignore. A quiet discomfort. Like something inside you is trying to say something, but doesn't know how. And for a second, you feel it clearly. You look at your life, not the version you imagine, not the one you tell people, the real one. Your habits, your routine, your days. And something doesn't align. Not dramatically, not in a way that breaks everything, but enough to make you pause, enough to make you think, how did I get here? And the strange part is, you don't remember choosing this. You don't remember deciding to live this way. It just happened. One day after another, one choice after another. So small you didn't notice them. So normal you didn't question them. And now, you're here, living a life that works, but doesn't fully feel like yours. And that's what makes it dangerous, because nothing is obviously wrong. There's no crisis, no breakdown, no clear sign that something needs to change. Everything looks fine. From the outside, it makes sense. But inside, you can feel it. This isn't fully you. And the hardest part? You don't know exactly when it happened. You just know it did. And once you start to notice that, you can't unsee it. Because now the question is there, clearer than before, impossible to ignore, not loud, not dramatic, but heavy. What if I'm becoming someone I never chose to be? And that question changes everything. It doesn't start with a big decision. That's the part most people get wrong. You don't wake up one day and choose a different life. You don't suddenly decide to become someone else. It begins much smaller than that, almost too small to notice, a choice that feels insignificant, a moment that doesn't seem important, something you do because it's easier, because it avoids friction, because it doesn't complicate things, and in that moment, it feels fine. There's no resistance, no internal conflict, no voice telling you that something is wrong. So you move on, without thinking twice, and then it happens again. Another small decision, another quiet compromise, another moment where you choose what's convenient, instead of what feels true. And again, it doesn't feel like a big deal, because it isn't. Not on its own. That's what makes it invisible. Each moment is too small to matter, too normal to question, too easy to justify. I'll think about it later. It's not that important. It doesn't really change anything. And maybe in that moment, it doesn't. But these moments don't exist in isolation. They accumulate, quietly, over time. Because every time you choose what's easier over what's real, you move slightly, just a little, barely noticeable, but enough. Enough to create distance. And distance is how it begins. Not all at once, not dramatically, but gradually. You move away from what you feel, from what you want, from what you know. And the strange part is, You don't feel it immediately. There's no instant consequence, no sudden realization, no clear signal that something is changing. Everything still works. Your life continues. Your days move forward. Nothing breaks. And that's exactly why it continues. Because nothing forces you to stop. Nothing interrupts the pattern. Nothing makes you question what you're doing. So you keep going, repeating the same small choices, the same small compromises, the same quiet adjustments, until one day, something feels different. Not in a way you can explain, not in a way you can clearly point to, just a subtle shift, a kind of internal distance, like you're slightly disconnected from yourself. And when you try to understand it, you can't find the moment it started, because there isn't one. There are hundreds of small moments, small decisions, small it doesn't matter choices that slowly shaped who you are without you ever noticing. And now, you're living inside the result of them. A version of yourself, built quietly, unintentionally, without ever fully choosing it. And that's the part that stays with you. Not what you did, but what you didn't notice. Because it didn't feel like losing yourself. It felt like living, normal, reasonable, safe, until it wasn't. Until you looked at your life and felt that distance, that quiet awareness that something doesn't fully match. And by then, you're already further away than you thought. Not because you made one wrong decision, but because you made many small ones, without ever realizing where they were taking you. Most of your life isn't something you actively chose. It just happened. Not because you didn't care, not because you didn't think about it, but because nothing ever forced you to decide. Things moved forward on their own. One step led to another. One situation led to the next. And instead of stopping, you followed. Because following is easier than choosing. It requires less effort, less resistance, less confrontation with yourself. So you let things unfold. Naturally, smoothly, without interruption. You wake up, and before you're even fully present, your day has already started. You reach for your phone. Not consciously, not intentionally, just automatically. A habit you didn't question, a pattern you didn't choose. You scroll, you check, you consume, and in a few minutes, your attention is already gone, pulled into things that have nothing to do with you. Other people's lives, other people's thoughts, other people's priorities. And without realizing it, you've already stepped out of your own. Then you move into the day, the routine, the structure, the things you're supposed to do, the things that make sense, the things that keep everything running. And again, nothing feels wrong. That's what makes it so easy to continue. Because everything works. It's functional, predictable, acceptable. You're doing what you should, what's expected, what fits. And that creates a kind of comfort, a quiet stability. But that stability comes with a cost. Because while everything is working on the outside, something is slowly fading on the inside. Your input, your intention, your awareness. You stop asking, what do I actually want? And start asking, what makes sense here? What should I do next? What's the easiest option? And those questions guide your actions. But they don't guide your life. They just keep it moving. Forward. Without direction, without intention, without you fully in it. And that's how it happens. Not through a big mistake, not through a wrong decision, but through the absence of real ones. You don't build your life. You drift into it. You adjust. You adapt. You shape yourself around what's already there, instead of shaping your life around who you are. And over time, that becomes your normal. You stop noticing it, stop questioning it, stop feeling the difference. Because there's nothing dramatic about it. No warning signs. No obvious problems. Just a quiet continuation, day after day, moment after moment. And before you realize it, you're living a life that makes sense, but doesn't feel like yours. Not completely, not fully, just enough to function, but not enough to feel connected. And that's the part that stays hidden. Because from the outside, everything looks fine, but inside, you can feel it. You're moving, but you're not choosing. You're living, but you're not deciding. And that difference is where everything starts to shift. Because once you notice it, you can't go back to not seeing it. And the question becomes unavoidable. If you didn't fully choose this life, then who did? At first, it doesn't feel like something is wrong. That's what makes it so hard to notice. There's no sudden shift, no moment where everything breaks, no clear sign that something is missing. Your life continues. Everything moves forward. Nothing stops. And from the outside, it looks normal, maybe even good. But inside, something feels different. Not enough to alarm you, not enough to make you stop, just enough to create a quiet discomfort. A feeling you can't fully explain, like something is slightly out of place, like you're not fully inside your own life. You still do everything you're supposed to do. You wake up, you move through your day, you complete tasks, you respond to people, you follow the routine. Nothing is missing. And yet, something is. You start to notice it in small moments. When things go quiet. When there's nothing to distract you. When your attention isn't pulled somewhere else. That's when it shows up. That subtle distance. Like you're watching your life, instead of living it. Like you're present, but not fully there. You say the right things. You do what's expected. You act like yourself, but it feels slightly disconnected. Like there's a gap between what you're doing and what you're feeling, and that gap is exhausting. Not in an obvious way, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, because you're constantly moving through something that doesn't fully resonate. And over time, that creates a kind of quiet fatigue, the kind you can't fix with rest, the kind that doesn't go away with a break, because it's not coming from effort. It's coming from disconnection, from living in a way that doesn't fully align with you. And the hardest part is, you don't know exactly when it started. There's no single moment to look back at, no clear cause, no obvious mistake, just a gradual shift, a slow movement away from yourself, built on all those small decisions that didn't seem important at the time. And now, you feel it, in the way you move through your day, in the way things don't excite you the way they used to, in the way everything feels a little heavier than it should. Even simple things, even normal moments, they don't feel the same, not because they changed, but because you did, or more precisely, because you drifted, you adapted, you adjusted, you moved further and further away without realizing it. And now, you're here, in a life that works, in a routine that functions, in a version of yourself that makes sense, but doesn't fully feel like you. And that realization is quiet, but powerful, because it doesn't scream, it doesn't demand attention, it just sits there, in the background, waiting, until one day, you notice it clearly. And when you do, it's hard to ignore, because now you can feel the distance, not as an idea, but as something real, something present, something that follows you through your days. And the question starts to form, slowly, uncomfortably. If this isn't fully me, then who am I becoming? And that question is where everything begins to change. That's when the thinking starts. Not during the day, not when you're busy, not when your attention is pulled in 100 different directions, but at night, when everything slows down, when the noise fades, when there's nothing left to distract you. That's when your mind wakes up. You lie there, staring at the ceiling, and suddenly, everything becomes clear. Too clear. Thoughts you ignored during the day come back, stronger, more defined, more persistent. You start replaying things, moments, conversations, decisions, things you said, things you didn't say, things you should have done differently, and it feels like progress. Like you're finally understanding something, like you're getting closer to the truth. Your mind builds scenarios, different versions of your life, different paths you could have taken, different versions of yourself, the one who chose differently, the one who didn't hesitate, the one who didn't adapt, the one who stayed true. And for a moment, you feel something, clarity, motivation, a sense that something is about to change, like this is it, like tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow, you'll act. Tomorrow, you'll finally do something about it. You feel it so strongly that it almost seems real, like a shift has already happened, like you've already changed. But then, morning comes, and everything fades. That clarity, that urgency, that version of you, gone, replaced by something familiar, something quiet, something comfortable, the same thoughts, the same patterns. I'll start later. I just need to feel ready. One more day won't matter. And just like that, the cycle continues. Because overthinking creates an illusion. It makes you feel like you're moving when you're not. It gives you the sense of progress without requiring action. You analyze, you reflect, you understand, but you don't move. You stay exactly where you are, just more aware of it. And sometimes, that awareness makes it even harder, because now you see the gap, clearly, between who you are and who you could be. And instead of closing it, you sit with it, thinking about it, revisiting it, trying to solve it in your head, as if one more thought will finally change everything. But it never does. Because the problem isn't lack of understanding, it's lack of movement. And the longer you stay in that loop, the stronger it becomes. Thinking becomes your comfort zone, your safe space, the place where you feel in control, where everything makes sense, where you can imagine change without actually facing it. And action becomes something else, something distant, something uncomfortable, something you keep postponing, not because you can't do it, but because you've trained yourself to replace action with thought. And that's the trap. Because the more you think, the less you act. And the less you act, the more you feel stuck. And the more you feel stuck, the more you think. Until one day, you realize you've been moving in circles. Not physically, but mentally. And no matter how much you think about it, nothing changes. Because nothing ever does. Until you step out of the loop. The realization doesn't come like you expect. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not the kind of moment that changes everything instantly. There's no breakdown, no sudden collapse, no point where everything falls apart. That's what makes it different. It's quiet, almost easy to miss. It happens in a moment that feels ordinary. You're not doing anything special. You're not searching for answers. You're not trying to figure things out. You're just there, sitting, thinking, existing. And for a second, everything slows down. Not outside, inside. The noise fades, the distractions disappear, and for the first time in a while, you're not escaping. You're not thinking about something else. You're not filling the space. You're just present. And that's when it happens. You look at your life. Not the version you imagine. Not the one you talk about. The real one. The one you're actually living. Your days. Your habits. Your routine. Your direction. And suddenly, you see it clearly. Not emotionally. Not dramatically. just honestly. And something feels different. Not wrong, not broken, just incomplete. Like something is missing, but not something external. Not something you can fix by changing your environment. Something internal, something you've been avoiding, something you've been delaying, and then it connects, slowly, but clearly. You didn't end up here by accident. You didn't get here because life forced you. You didn't get here because of one big mistake. You got here because you kept choosing not to choose, again and again and again. Not in a dramatic way, not consciously, but consistently. Through small decisions, small delays, small moments where you said, later, tomorrow, not now. And those moments felt harmless. They felt reasonable. They felt safe. But now, you see them differently. Not as protection, not as preparation, but as avoidance. And that changes everything. Because for the first time, you remove every excuse. There's nothing else to blame. No situation, no timing, no external factor, just you and the way you've been living. And that's uncomfortable, because it means something else is true, something you can't ignore anymore. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Simple, obvious, but impossible to avoid once you see it. And suddenly, everything becomes clear. You're not stuck because you don't know what to do. You're stuck because you haven't been doing anything differently. You've been waiting, thinking, delaying, hoping something would shift, without actually shifting anything. And now, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to thinking everything is fine, because now you understand. This version of your life isn't something that happened to you. It's something you allowed, slowly, quietly, over time. And that realization doesn't feel good, but it feels real, and real is where change begins. Because now you have a choice, not a perfect one, not a clear one, but a real one. Keep living the same way, knowing exactly where it leads, or change something, even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's uncertain. And that moment, that quiet realization, is where everything starts to shift. Not instantly, not dramatically, but honestly. And that honesty is the beginning of something different. The shift doesn't feel like a breakthrough. There's no moment where everything suddenly makes sense. No version of you that wakes up completely different. No instant clarity, no perfect plan. That's not how it happens. The shift is quieter than that, smaller, almost unnoticeable at first. It doesn't start with motivation. It starts with honesty. You stop telling yourself the same things. You stop repeating, I'll start tomorrow. I just need more time. I'll do it when I feel ready. Because now you see something you didn't see before. You see that waiting is what kept you here. That feeling ready never actually came. And it never will. Not on its own. So instead of waiting, you do something different. Not something big, not something impressive, just something real, something small, something you would normally delay, something you've been avoiding. And when you do it, it doesn't feel good. There's no rush of motivation, no sudden confidence, no feeling of transformation, just resistance. That same resistance you've always felt. The one that made you stop before. The one that made you wait. The one that told you, not now, later, tomorrow. But this time, you don't listen to it. You feel it and move anyway. And that's new, because for the first time, you're not waiting to feel ready. You're acting without it. And something shifts, not outside, inside. Because every small action sends a signal, a quiet one, but powerful. It tells you, I can move. I'm not stuck. I don't need to wait. And that matters more than anything else. Because before, everything depended on how you felt. If you felt ready, you acted. If you didn't, you stopped. And most of the time, you didn't feel ready, so nothing changed. But now, you're breaking that pattern. You're acting without permission, without perfect timing, without overthinking. And slowly, something starts to change. Your thoughts don't disappear. The doubts are still there. The hesitation is still there. But they're quieter, less controlling, less overwhelming, because they're not the only thing happening anymore. Action is there too, and action changes the balance. Not instantly, but consistently. The more you act, the less power those thoughts have, the less space they take, the less they control what you do. And over time, that creates something new. Momentum, not dramatic, not visible from the outside, but real, stable. Because it's not based on emotion, it's based on repetition. And repetition builds trust. Trust in yourself. Trust that you can follow through. Trust that you can move forward, even when you don't feel like it. And that trust changes everything. Because now, you're not trying to become someone else. You're not chasing a different version of yourself. You're just becoming more aligned with what you do, with what you feel, with who you are. And that alignment is what makes things feel lighter. Not because life is easier, but because you're no longer fighting yourself. You're moving with yourself. And that's something you haven't felt in a long time, maybe ever. And it doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from one small action that you finally stop avoiding, and then another, until one day, you look at your life and it feels different. Not because everything changed, but because you did. You didn't become this version of yourself overnight, and you won't change overnight either. That's not how it works. And honestly, that's not even the point. Because the real problem was never speed. It was direction. You weren't stuck because you were slow. You were stuck because you weren't choosing. You were moving, doing things, living your days, but not deciding where any of it was going. And when you don't decide, life decides for you, quietly, without asking, without warning. And over time, those small, unnoticed directions become everything. They shape your habits, your routines, your identity, until one day, you look around and realize you didn't build this life intentionally. You just ended up in it. And that's a hard thing to accept, because it means something else is true. If you ended up here, you can also end up somewhere else. Not magically, not instantly, but gradually. The same way it happened before, through small choices, repeated over time. Because that's the truth most people avoid. You don't waste your life all at once. You don't lose yourself in one moment. It happens slowly, in small delays, in not now, in tomorrow. In all those moments that feel harmless, while they're happening, but aren't. Because what you repeat becomes your life, and what you postpone slowly disappears. And the hardest part is, you don't feel it while it's happening. There's no alarm, no warning, no clear sign that something is slipping away. It just goes, quietly, day after day, until one day, you look back, and you see the gap between where you are and where you could have been. And that gap is made of moments, small ones, invisible ones, the kind you didn't think mattered. And now, they do. And that realization can feel heavy. It can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like you're behind, like you've already lost too much time. But that's not the part that matters. What matters is this: you're aware now. And awareness changes everything. Because now, those moments aren't invisible anymore. Now you see them, you notice them, you feel them. The small decisions, the small delays, the small choices that shape everything. And that gives you something you didn't have before. Control. Not over everything, not over your entire life, but over the next moment. And that's enough. Because your life isn't built all at once. It's built there, in the next decision, in the next action, in the next thing you choose, instead of avoiding. And it won't feel dramatic. It won't feel like a transformation. It will feel small, almost insignificant. But it's not, because small is how everything started, and small is how everything changes. So if something in your life feels off, if something doesn't fully feel like you, don't ignore it. Don't silence it. Don't distract yourself from it. Listen, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's unclear, even if you don't know exactly what to do yet, because that feeling isn't the problem. It's the signal. It's the part of you that still knows, that still recognizes the difference between what you're living and what you actually want. And the moment you start listening to it, even just a little, you're no longer drifting. You're no longer adapting. You're choosing. And that's where everything begins. Not perfectly, not instantly, but honestly. And honestly is enough.